In the next edition of It's About Money, my guest is Cassidy Broman. He is the owner and executive chef of Public Provisions. Be sure to tune in for the next edition of It's About Money. Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nannette Nocon. Thank you for joining us. Today I am joined by Cassidy Broman, who is the owner and executive chef of Public Provisions. It's a restaurant located at Rochester's Public Market, and he's here to share more about the creative culinary side of owning a restaurant as well as the business side. Cassidy, welcome. I'm glad
Uh,
you could join us.
Hello.
So tell us about your culinary background and your career up until now.
So I kind of grew up in a restaurant with my family. My family owned a restaurant downtown, and the bus used to drop me off at the restaurant, which is kind of funny. And then throughout my life, I've always had that in my background, even throughout high school, helping them out. And then I went off to culinary school, Culinary Institute of America, and then shipped off to Chicago and worked in a couple of restaurants out there, and came home and worked in some restaurants around town. Also, kind of helping my family out with their catering company. And I worked at Flower City Bread for a couple of years. I helped open up the Cub Room, which is a restaurant downtown. Started at the bottom at the Cub Room and worked my way up to the sous chef. And me and the chef owner over there kind of became good friends and kind of just evolved the cuisine into our own. And it almost became my restaurant for a little while. And kind of let me have the reins. So, and then after that, I decided to do this, open a restaurant.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah.
So what gave you the idea for Public Provisions?
So my business partner, Keith Myers, he owns Flower City Bread, which is two doors down from us. Um, he kind of came to me a little while ago, 2, 3 years ago, and he showed me this building he bought, the building I'm sitting in right now. I've known Keith for about 15 years now, kind of on and off, working around Rochester and stuff like that. And he's always been a fan of mine. I've always been a fan of his, and we've always enjoyed working together. And we've always kind of, I don't want to say joked, but I've always kind of said, hey, we should open a restaurant one day. This was a long time ago. And then 3 years ago, he showed me this building he bought, and we kind of the fire kind of started, and we kind of started brainstorming. This is kind of right after the COVID thing. We were doing food to go together for people to come pick up on a grocery and stuff like that, and we kind of just that kind of was the start of this public provisions thing. So yeah.
And what's the concept of it? Something unique about Public Provisions, right?
So we're in the
Background.
public market. The market's open Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. So there's vendors out front selling produce. I mean, even on Saturdays you can go and get a candle or some kettle corn or T-shirt. There's vendors out there selling stuff. So that the people are coming for that, and people are coming to buy his bread at the bakery. So we kind of we like the idea of people coming in and getting a cup of coffee, getting a breakfast sandwich, or sticking around for lunch, or coming back for dinner time at the public market. Like, so the idea of people coming and getting a loaf of bread or a croissant and a hot cup of coffee and a breakfast sandwich, that's kind of where it started. And then we created this nighttime kind of feel. And there are restaurants down here at the public market that are very successful. And we're calling it the Restaurant Row with, Velvet Belly, Fiorella, Cure. There's a couple other restaurants I think will be opening soon. So there's plenty of parking. You know what I mean? So it's ideal to have a restaurant in the public market at night because there's plenty of space for everyone to be coexisting.
Oh, it's great. I think it's wonderful space. Now, how did you decide on the name of your restaurant?
Uh, Public provisions. It was building the restaurant took 3 years, and we were bouncing ideas off each other, and we wanted to use the word public because we're at the public market. Um, Provisions, just come and get your stuff. We were doing the grocery. We call it the Friday grocery back when COVID was happening, and every Friday you would come and pick up your groceries, whether that was Fisher Hill produce or eggs or loaves of bread, and I was doing prepared food. So we were kind of providing provisions. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And we still do that. Like, you can come and get eggs, dozen eggs from us, or OJ and stuff like that. So that's kind of how that started, and it just ended up sticking, and we just kind of went with it, and we like that word provisions, and it's it kind of flows for us, so it never kind of went away. We never, there was ideas of like naming it after our kids and all that, and provisions just stuck. So we kind of just went with it.
Yeah. You're right. It sticks in your mind. It's a public provisions. It seems like
Right.
it's been around. It's a name that sounds comfortable together.
Right.
That works.
And you come here on Saturday or on market days and you get your provisions out there and you come in, it just people see it and I don't know, I think they're drawn to it a little bit because of the name.
Sure, flows nicely. It's
Sure.
nice to have all the light open, having that glass wall and door. You know what I mean?
Right, like
It's
a
very
terrarium.
nice.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, but it's nice, like people watching, and you can stay warm inside.
Yes, nailed it.
So how do you decide on the kind of cuisine and recipes that you wanted to include on your menu?
So during the day, breakfast, Keith, the guy, my partner who owns Flower City, he he makes croissants every single day. He laminates them every single day. He makes beautiful biscuits. I mean, so putting a piece of Fisher Hill egg on there with some cheese blend and making a breakfast sandwich. That's pretty easy. I mean, he makes burger buns. We got things that are going on burger buns. He makes sourdough, so we're making chef toast and even bread and butter. So during the day, it's pretty simple for us to do those things because it goes so well with all of the stuff that he makes. And then we also at nighttime we incorporate those aspects, those availabilities of having fresh bread every single day. And it's having fresh baguettes is amazing. So we do a lot of dishes at night that you can kind of sop up with that bread. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
some of the dishes have the bread and the pastries involved in them. But my kind of background is definitely Spanish influence. So we the menu I would say has a lot of Spanish influence in it. I want to say we're a Spanish restaurant. I mean we do have sangria, and we do have some Spanish wines on the list. But we're kind of a Spanish influenced restaurant. The idea and the concept of the restaurant, I think we always go back to it's approachable. You come in and you can look at the menu, and there's nothing on there that's too scary. There's a burger on the menu. There's a nice roulade chicken. We call it the chicken circle. An approachable. There's braised shrimp gambas, which are shrimp cooked in sofrito. With the bread that we just talked about. It's an approachable menu with a lot of Spanish influence kind of running through it. So
Yeah,
that's
and it's yummy.
yeah. Thanks.
Good to have tried it out. Yes,
Right.
yeah. A few more. So, what would you say are the challenges of being an executive chef and co-owner of the restaurant? Is it that typical for most restaurants that the executive chef is also a co-owner, or is that more like unique
Well,
to your situation?
I always kind of trust restaurants that the chef is the owner. I kind of draw towards that. Just me personally, even traveling all over the world, the chef owner restaurants are usually those. Being a chef's tough, and when you're an owner, you have a commitment to be there all the time. You know what I mean? So being the challenges for me, I mean, I kind of make fun of this all the time. If I just had to cook food every single day, it would be easy. But I don't. That's the easy. Cooking's the easy part for me and for my guys. Um, it's all the paperwork. It's all the staffing and stuff like that. The challenges for me are definitely the day to day behind the scenes stuff. If it was just cooking and if it was just bringing food out to customers, hospitality, that's what I'm good at. I'm really good at being hospitable, giving people what they want, cooking delicious food, making sure they're having a cozy, fun time, whether that's with a cup of coffee and a slice of bread, or that's dinner time with a glass of wine or a bottle of wine and some warm, delicious food. It's all the behind the scenes, the emails that come in and people asking questions, whether it's a real email or not a real email, if it's somebody trying to scam me, dealing with the day to day paperwork stuff is tough. But I have an amazing general manager who kind of filters that out for me. And every single day at a certain time, we sit down together and we knock down the list. Sometimes it's a good time and sometimes it's you're pulling your hair out. I mean, it's the business side of things is tough. But that's
Sure.
for me. That I think that's the difficult part. I also really enjoy being in the kitchen. I really enjoy being in the kitchen and teaching the younger guys, the younger cooks, because they're hungry and I'm teaching them how to be not even how to cook, but like how to stand on their feet. How to put a good 8 hours in. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're teaching here, and I think that's what all chefs teach is how to be a good worker, and then you can take that anywhere. You could go be a mailman or whatever you want to do. So that's the challenges I think every single day for chef owners. For me,
And it's great that because you're going beyond that, the teaching part I think is wonderful, right? You could
yeah,
not care about it, but the fact that you're teaching the next generation to be equally, be as good as you, right? Or follow your footsteps and build great habits,
yeah.
makes sense.
I tell. I mean, I have a couple guys, a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old. Bottom of the barrel here. They're dishwashers slash salad guys, and they started with me, 6 to 10 months ago. Yeah, and I literally looked at one of them last night as he was, we're finishing up, we're sweeping, we're mopping, we're taking the garbage out. I looked at him like, remember when you started and you weren't very good at this? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you don't, you're good at this now. You know what I mean? Like, can't you feel that you're good at this? And that moment, he was like, yeah. But hearing it from me, you know what I mean? Like, that's not. He was like, yeah, I am good at this. I'm like, you can only get better. You can only keep going up. It gets harder. It's not going to get easier, but you know what I mean? And that moment, he was like, yeah, I am. I'm not bad at this anymore. I'm pretty good at this. So it's
That's
good to
great.
feel that as a teacher or a mentor or a chef.
Yeah, sure. It's great that you're coaching and helping them. That's
Right.
terrific. That's really remarkable, Cassidy. I think a lot of people who own a business, they know the craft, that's the easy part. It's the
Mm-hmm.
managing part, encouraging others. So a lot of moving parts that go with it. So it sounds like you're doing a very good job. So, the marketing, how do you deal with the marketing? Is that left to your general manager, or how do you approach marketing public relations?
Marketing. I mean, that's also a challenge for me personally because I cook. I think I make pretty nice food. I take a picture of it, and then it either that's when the marketing happens. That's when it needs to go out on the social media. We're out to the world. So I kind of let our general manager, and Keith is unbelievable at marketing. He's been doing it for a while. He knows what people want to see. He's kind of a photographer nerd, so he kind of goes down that rabbit hole, which is great. So actually, this Monday we're coming in and we're going to take pictures of the whole menu. No one, we'll close on Mondays, so me and him are going to come in and he's going to set up his stuff. And we're going to take pictures, and that'll eventually be out at the feelers and stuff like that. But obviously, Instagram and Facebook, we try and hit that up early in the week where people can come in and see what we have coming. It could be food, it could be wine, it could be just kind of the staff being goofballs. You know what I mean? Like it's a comfortable, warm place.
Sure.
Maria always, I think it's at the beginning of the month, she sends out like kind of a blast email to the Rolodex of customers and people we know of what's coming up. We've got Thanksgiving coming up, which is a good day for us. We do a Thanksgiving take home dinner. You pre-order and there's a grocery online. And then Christmas is coming up. So every month we got something coming up. We try and do that blast email. She's really good at that. And then Keith does his thing. He's got tons of outlets, also emails, and he's kind of threaded into chefs and other outlets around town. So it's kind of a three-headed monster. I create, and those guys take it and bring it out there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We're trying to maybe get into a magazine, but I've been a little hesitant about that. That's, I don't want to say a lot of money, but that's a commitment that I don't know if we're ready yet. We're trying to get some months underneath our belt, but that's another marketing tool that we want to kind of get into. And I'm doing this with you. I've had podcasts that I've been on. I've got the DNC,
Yes.
uh, coming at us a little bit. And I like that. I'll take it all. I'll sit down and Zoom anybody.
Yeah, yeah. The attention is great, right? Especially
Right.
because you have great food, so you just have to spread the word, right? So that's key. And of course, customers
Right.
do the postings as well?
I'm kind of old school. I've never really gotten into the Instagram and taking a picture and then posting it and saying how great of a time it was and all that. But I see it every single night. There's people. I'm not even saying young people. I'm just anyone. They take a picture and then I see it the next day on my Instagram. I was at Public Provisions and had the scallops or whatever. You know what I mean? I think that's, as a community and as a marketing tool. That's beautiful. That's great. Like I said, I'm pretty old school, so that whole scene is new to me now owning a business. But it's really remarkable how well the people that come in kind of market for you. It's great.
Yeah, actually, when Carl and I went there, I took some pictures and I posted in my Facebook account.
Right.
And then a bunch of our friends said, "Oh yeah, I went after that because of your
Oh,
recommendation."
I love
So
it. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
so
that's the easy one. All I have to do is make good food, and then people come. I think. I hope.
Yeah, well, it's great food. And like you said, it's not it's an approachable menu, but you
Mm,
put something there that makes it very special. So
yeah.
it's wonderful in really in that regard.
Sure.
So I want to talk about the future of public provisions. But as I recall, I've known you since you were little, and I remember your mom saying, "Boy, when we go out to eat, it's like having three adults because Cassidy's taste for food
Right. No, yeah.
is just so remarkable."
Yeah.
So because I mean it's kind of daily when you were little, right? But was there a moment in time like I mean it's like you saying to the young person you were coaching about, hey, you've got this, and only get better. Was there a moment like that in your own mind when you were little that's like, yeah, this is what I want to do? It just kind of or did it just happen naturally?
Wow, I've never been asked this question. I don't think there's a moment in time. I I just I love food and I love cooking, and that's why I started to do it and why I kind of went down the path. And now within the last 10 years, I'm 35, so the last 10 years I've kind of learned that I kind of like the hospitality of it, of seeing the customer. I mean, our kitchen is kind of an open kitchen, and I'm kind of all over the place. I'm cooking food, and then I'll run the food to the table and talk to the customer and see their face, and they get to see me. If someone has a allergy or something like that, I'll go right over to the table and I'll talk to them. It's not even an intimidation thing. It's a, hey, I'm going to be making your food tonight. I want to make sure I know that you're allergic to peanuts or you're allergic to dairy or something like that. So I think that the last 10 years, the hospitality of this has been what I'm really getting my talents into. You know what I mean? I think that was the moment for me. But growing up, I always looked up to my mom and dad for running a restaurant and the way my father could cook, and my mom's hospitality front of the house is remarkable. So that's all, I definitely get it from them. I think it just evolved into I really want to cook amazing food and do the best. So I want to be hospitable and have my customers have a great experience here.
Yeah, oh, that's great. I can show it. It shows, and not but that many people or not many chefs have had that lifelong exposure, right? I mean,
Right.
of course we all eat, but it's a little different because it's always your food that your family had was a notch above a lot of other restaurants in town, and so you
Sure.
kind of set a standard that's higher as well, I imagine.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So what do you see for the future of public provisions? Like what does it look like moving forward?
So we've got a plan here. It's the footprint of the restaurant right now is very small, but the building that we are in is very big. So within the next couple of weeks here, actually, the bakery will be moving into the back of the restaurant. That's a big thing. The Keith's Bakery will be moving in the back of the restaurant. All the bread making will be happening here, so that the restaurant will smell like fresh baked bread and pastries every single day. So that's something we're looking forward to. We do have accessibility to the roof. We have a rooftop seating area kind of mapped out, so maybe a little tiki bar, rooftop seating. That's really unique for the public market. You know what I mean? To sit up there on the roof and have a cup of coffee. But that's probably gonna be next spring, just because rooftop and just this time of year is not going to happen. But that's down the line. So we got the bakery moving over here. We got the potential of a rooftop seating, rooftop tiki bar sort of feel during up there. And then we have, maybe the 5-year plan is an event space right next to us. We have the ability to maybe do events, big events, or maybe a brewery. I don't know. We've got a lot of room next door to us that's kind of a blank palette. You know what I mean? So that's the 5-year plan. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things. We're starting to get some cocktails. Right now it's just beer and wine, but right now we're messing around with some cocktails, so maybe a cocktail service down in the next couple of weeks. So we're always moving and shaking. I get bored really quick, I mean, with the menu and with stuff. So I'm always changing things around, and that's good. But I think my general manager wants to pull my hair out sometimes because I'm like, all right, we're gonna change it. We just figured out how to do it. Now let's change it again. So, but that just keeps it fun, you know.
And how often do you change the menu? I mean, how update it? How is it
So we
seasonal
do
or?
there it is again. Well, we do like 2 or 3 specials a week. But the menu changes with seasons because availability of stuff. I don't know. I think we change the menu at least 4 times seriously, but I'm always taking things off and putting things on. I mean, we print our own menus. It's very simple for us to do. So often, I think we change the menu often. We just changed it 2 weeks ago, and I'm ready to change it again. Uh, it's, you know what I mean. There's always the same thread of the dishes. You know, the burger's never going to go away. I don't think the chicken's ever going to go away. I really like our shrimp combos. So there's
Yeah,
definitely some
that's good.
staples. But as the seasons change, you got to change the vegetables. You got to change the proteins. You know, when seafood season's hitting, you got to get that stuff in here and have it. So
Sure, sure. And then so in a restaurant, someone walks in there, you've got outside when it's warmer days, you have
yeah,
outside seating, right?
yeah, oh yeah,
Outdoor seating,
yep,
and then you've got the counter seating, and
right,
then you've got the regular. There's just a lot of different varieties of
yeah.
where you sit.
It's
Yes.
remarkable because at night it gets a little dark and there's people sitting outside, and I'll go outside around food, and I'm like, oh wow, look at all these people, they're all out here sitting down. Like I can't see them from inside because whatever, but it's people. And I was like, yeah, just put the chairs out, maybe people sit out there, and sure enough, they're doing it. They love it out there.
I think we're very lucky in our community that the public market is a space that the community likes to gather.
Hmm.
It's some of my friends say, "Yeah, I go to the public market to catch up with friends because I know that I'll see a bunch of people there, just shopping or having breakfast or lunch or whatever."
The public market community is unbelievable. I see the same people almost to the T, to the time. 7 o'clock, I'm seeing this guy. 7:30, I'm seeing this person. Then I call them the corner crew. The corner crew comes in and they post up over there for 45 minutes. They get their normal stuff. But it's a really remarkable, like you said, friends just go there to meet, get their vegetables, and they go to meet and they hang out. They hang out with us. They hang out with me. They always say hi. You know, it's a really awesome community of the public market, and it can grow. Come on down, come hang out with us.
Sure. It's nice that there's always improvements that happen there, with the enclosures and,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's great. I mean, having been to see the Pike Market in Seattle a couple times,
sure.
I see that, we're a smaller scale, but certainly we have a lot of the amenities that they have, offerings that they have in a nice way.
I think our
So,
public market is one of the best in the state. To be honest with you, it's remarkable what the city does, and Jim, the guy that runs the place, they do a really great job, and I'm very proud to be here at the public market to be part of the whole scene. It's really great.
So, I have some operational questions for you. Now, for like wait staff and stuff with the difficulty of hiring people, are you finding that to be a challenge these days, or are you staffed in a way that's right for your business right now?
Right now, we're staffed right. I mean, when we first opened, we had a very large staff, and then we knew this going in. We had to start with a large staff, and then you whittle it down, and that's from our standpoint as execution. What I want, what I'm expecting our help, our servers, our cooks to do, and then they whittle themselves out because they don't want to. Maybe they don't want to be here. Maybe they thought there was something that wasn't, and stuff like that. So right now we have a pretty, I want to say small staff, but it's a very tight team. I think in the back of the house I've got about 4 guys that I really 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 they're the best, and I can't do it without them. And then in the front there's a handful of servers and bartenders that have whittled themselves down to this core group, and they're all in. It's really remarkable. And when they walk in the door, they're happy and great. I don't like saying too many nice things because then it ends up biting me in the butt. Like,
Yeah, right,
as soon as
right,
I
right.
say something nice, they're coming. Hey, I gotta talk to you. So that's just kind of like the kitchen gods. I don't want to make them mad, but no, I think my staff is great. I haven't had too many problems with staffing or anything like that. I'm secretly a kind of a good boss to work for. I think. I hope. So
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. I think having the right culture in
yes,
the space and everybody collaborating, I think it's really important. You got to keep an eye on it, right? Because
yeah,
if someone is not in the same page, then you're better. We're a little bit short staffed and everybody working a little bit harder
yeah.
and just collaborating and
We have a
yeah.
system, actually a tipping system here that everybody sees the tip out. You know what I mean? When you leave your tip at the end of the night on that table after it doesn't all just go to that server. The cooks will get a portion of that, and the dishwasher that night will get a portion of that. You know what I mean? So it becomes that aspect of it kind of becomes a community of the front of the house. I mean, back olden days, it was the front of the house versus the back of the house. We're not supposed to like each other, and now with that system in place, out with the old system, in with this new kind of system. And there's a lot of restaurants around town that have adopted that, have folded that into their way of running it, their culture, and that helps too. I mean, I hate to talk about money, but that kind of edges that out, sands that out of that, back of the house versus front of the house aspect.
Oh, sure, everybody's a stake in delivering the right service and quality of food, right?
Right.
Because one could say, well, it's their fault, their fault. So this way, everybody's to be on the same page. And
Accountable. Right. Exactly.
yeah, right.
Sure.
And if a wait staff is walking by a table and it needs something, they just help, right? Instead of having to wait. I'm
I'm out.
not your
Yeah.
server.
Right.
You
You
know
very
what
good.
I mean?
Yes. Right. No, we
So
don't. I'm done with that.
yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like you've put together a really good organization, wonderful restaurants. You've got the food, you've got the right idea, you're teaching people. I wish you the very best. I was really excited to have you on the show because I just admire the way you run your business and the way that your food is so good. So I want to thank you for taking the time to be a part of our show. It's about money today.
Absolutely. I had a blast. This was great. So, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. All the best, Cassidy. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. And thank you, our guests, for joining us today. It's about money. I'm Nannette Nocon. Until next time.